Love it.
God, that sounds so good.
Absolutely.
I'm not in this portion of my diet with just a brat meal. I've been trying to put on a little bit of muscle, and I'm now to the point where I'm like, okay, now let's trim it way down as quick as we can. But we might go out with a bang and try some new brats here. So it's called Usingers, is that right?
Yes, Usingers.
Okay.
Classic Milwaukee, Wisconsin bratwurst right there. Gotta love it.
Okay.
Appreciate you bringing that up, Jacob. That's important information. It really is, man. Especially, that house is going to smell like food for 2 months after we leave it. I promise.
It's going to smell like charge.
Brats and daddy sodas.
I'm going to get an extra cleaning bill. They're going to be like, we can't get the grease out of the curtains. It smells like fried food in here. Yes, it does. That's what happens when the Southern folk roll into town. All right. Tight end Elijah Arroyo skipping the combine workouts because of a knee injury. So here's another guy. Here's a guy. We actually talked about him a little bit earlier. Let me see where we got him exactly. I don't want to put him in a place that he might not be. Let's see. Tight end. There's Harold Fannin. So we got Elijah Arroyo. I think he's the fourth best tight end on our board. He's sitting in the 63 spot. Okay, so that's where he kind of falls in on our board. Ian Rappaport tweeted out, Miami tight end Elijah Arroyo, a potential first-round pick, is not working out at the combine due to a knee injury from the Senior Bowl, I'm told. He will be ready for his pro day, though, on March 24th.
Knee.
I've seen Jake in the chat here. Jake, can you confirm, or anybody in the chat confirm for us? So if I'm reading that correctly, that's a knee injury he suffered at the Senior Bowl? Is that how you guys took that too?
That's what it looks like.
From the Senior Bowl, right?
During the Senior Bowl. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, that's another example of what can happen. Yeah, that's what Jake said. Yes, you want to go out there and compete, but that could cost him, some potential spots. Now, I'm not as high on him as some people are. I think he's more of a second to third round pick type, but there's some people that have him borderline first. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens there. Anything you guys want to add to the Arroyo talk here?
Hopefully he's good to go, because that would really suck if he's not, if it's super serious. But I mean, looking at the end of that there, being ready for his pro day sounds good. So if he's on track for that, hopefully he doesn't miss any time and his draft stock doesn't plummet too much. But, I'm a little higher on Harold Fannin Jr. Personally at the tight end spot. And then we talked about Colston Loveland and, there's a couple other guys. So with my Goody hat on and as a Packer fan, I'm not super bummed out, but you hate to see a young guy going into the draft with any kind of injury issues. So hopefully he's good to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, Jacob. It sucks to see a player deal with that stuff and they go out there and do everything right and it costs some draft spots, could potentially.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like too that from the people in the chat that they're kind of a pass on him just because he doesn't seem like he's a all-around blocking tight end. There's also calling out some Fanning Jr. I'd be wondering, what do you guys think? And Jake, maybe in the chat, is this a really high-end tight end draft, or is it certain types of tight ends? Like, is it more of the slot, split him out receiver type tight end that kind of, because what is it? You got Tyler Warren, you got Colston Loveland, you got Fanning Jr., you got this guy, and I feel like there's like 4 or 5 others that keep getting around that top 100 area,
We got Elijah Arroyo in the 63 spot. Then Harold Fannin Jr. is in the 57 spot. Then we got Joy Taylor's nephew, Mason Taylor, in the 46 spot. I had to do it. I apologize. Let's see here. And then it goes, that's quite the drop off from Colston Loveland. So Colston Loveland is in the 12 spot, Jacob.
Where's my boy Rondé Gatson, the second?
Rondé Gatson. Let's see if we can.
Syracuse Orangeman.
We've got him in the 98 spot, Tim. That's where we got him at currently.
Just inside the top 100. I'll take it.
And we need to upgrade the injuries with this stuff, too. I need to be doing that in real time. So that's why Emilio needs to be in here. He's actually doing stuff to pay the bills, unfortunately, though. So funny how that worked. So Elijah Arroyo got a little bit of an injury. We need to update that. I need to just make a list of these, go back through my Twitter there. Who was it that asked the question about the cheese there, Jacob? I was going to pop it back up. Who was that?
I believe that was Mr. Chuck Yeagers right here.
Chuck Yeagers says, y'all put cheese on the brat? I want to hear y'all's take now. I'll tell you how I do it.
No.
I mean, since we talked about using hers, my favorite is the brat with a little bit of the secret stadium sauce straight on the top. That's all you need. Nothing else.
Mine's just
Don't
white
do
onion
anything
sauerkraut.
fancy.
White onion sauerkraut. Maybe a one line of mustard, one side of ketchup. But I could do it without. I just want the sauerkraut. That's the most important.
Cheese is totally acceptable, though. I mean, there's not many things that cheese does not go well with. So,
I mean, I ain't gonna kick a girl out of bed for eating cheese on anything. All right. Just saying.
Oh my god. So, yeah, there you go. Searching through the sheets looking for that brat. Yep, that's the brat. Anyway, two different ways, like what you said with the kraut. I love sauerkraut on them. Obviously, same thing. I like slaw. I throw slaw on them too, no problem. But if you're gonna put cheese on a brat, this is how I do it. You take a casserole dish, right? And this is if you're not smoking them or on the grill or anything. Okay, I don't. Anyway, I'm getting to that. So, a whole beer, right? About 16 ounces, maybe 20 ounces of beer in a casserole dish. Lay your brats in there, throw them in the oven, and cook them until they just pop. I'm talking about till they're like splitting wide open, right? And then dump the beer out, put the brat on a bun, smother them in cheese, whatever your favorite cheese is, and then throw them back under the broiler to where it melts the cheese. Where the cheese is almost crispy, it gets so melted down, and it toasts the bun too. You can't go wrong eating it that way either, man. So
that's what you're making for us during the draft. Is that what's happening?
We're having cannolis, Tim.
Cannolis.
we're having cannolis. All right.
Which, by the way, Tim knows that. He's just joking. He's actually scoping out some good cannoli places.
I was just going to say, I'm the one who's got to pick those up.
That's exactly right. There we go. Andy Monday, cheddar wurst, gentlemen. Invest.
There you go.
Forget Robin Hood. Invest in the cheddar wurst. All right. So again,
those are extremely good, though. If you know, you know.
Yeah. All right. Next thing here, 33rd team had a tweet they threw out. Travis Hunter remains our number one overall prospect this year combine opens. I thought this was interesting. Let's take a look at this real quick if you guys can see it. I like how they did it. Their top five they did in big bold. You can see it really, really easy. It's Travis Hunter 1, Abdul Carter 2, Ashton Jeanty 3, Mason Graham 4, Will Johnson 5. All right. If you look at our board, we've got Travis Hunter 1, Abdul Carter 2, Ashton Jeanty 3, Mason Graham 4, and then we've got Ty Warren 5. Okay, that's another tight end, by the way, the top tight end in the draft. That I don't think we have a snowball's chance in hell of him dropping to the Packers at 23, to be honest with you. But Will Johnson, there's a little bit of difference there between us and 33rd team. We have him in the 9 spot. They have him in the 5 spot. Then they got Josh Simmons, offensive lineman at 6. Will Campbell, offensive lineman 7. Shamar Stewart 8th. Malachi Starks 9th. Jalen Walker 10th. So that rounds out your top 10. They've got Kenneth Grant in the 11 spot. We've got Kenneth Grant in the 15 spot. So we got him a little bit lower. They're actually higher than we are on him. Siobhan Ravel is an interesting one. We're going to talk about him here in a minute before we wrap up. Cornerback out of East Carolina. Tim, I know you bring it to our attention like, yeah, but what about the injury? And it's a great point, right? We're going to talk about it here in a second. Mikael Williams, edge out of Georgia, 13. Josh Connerly Jr., offensive lineman, 14. James Pierce Jr., they have in the 15 spot. We've got James Pierce Jr. in the 15 spot. Armand Mimbo, they have 16. Cam Ward, 17. Tatero McMillan, 18. Kelvin Banks Jr., 19. Mike Green, 20. Say that name for me, Jacob. Number 21 there. Donovan
Ezeruku?
Yeah. Anyway, out of Boston College, he's 21. Ty Warren, tight end out of Penn State, 22. Nick Scourton, edge out of Texas A&M, 23. Tyler Booker, offensive guard, 24. And Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, number 25.
Here's the guy.
What would y'all like to add to that board there, that top 25 draft prospects, man?
Derek Harmon rounding it out. Don't sleep on the kid from Oregon. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I agree. This sounds like one of those weird. This is my theory when I was thinking about how we always get surprised by Packers. Where do you have Landon Jackson on your board, Clayton? Because
Landon Jackson,
if I'm not mistaken, he's an absolute freak, like 6'6", almost 300 pounds. But I'm sure his RAS is going to be off the charts. Guy that can move inside and outside. Is that somebody that there's not a lot of talk being mentioned, where all of a sudden you could slip in and just go 23rd overall?
I'm trying not to laugh because We've got him in the 32 spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got him right around where we had Jordan Morgan last year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was like when they took Jordan Morgan, I went, makes sense. Don't have any problem with it. That's right there in the ballpark. I could totally see that, Jacob. That'd be one that no one would think about, right?
Yeah.
So
It just, yeah.
yeah, we got him in the 32 spot. In 2022, he was the 729th graded edge defender. Then in 23, he jumped all the way to 169. And in 24, he jumped all the way to 48th. PFF Big Board had him at 36. The Consensus Big Board had him at 43. Kyle Krabs, 33rd team before the Senior Bowl, had him at 23. And then Dane Brugler had him at 45. So he lands with a 36.8 grade. We don't know where Daniel Jeremiah has him yet. When he releases his top 100 or top 150, however he does it this year, we'll have that information. But yeah, he's in the 32 spot for us. Jacob, I think you might be on to something there, man. That wouldn't surprise me.
6'7", 280 pounds out of Arkansas.
He's crazy.
Let's
6'7"?
go.
6'7",
6'7", man.
I bet his wingspan
Just
is
turned
2 feet.
22. So
Yeah, I'm serious. Everything I saw on paper, I was just like, that just seems like the guy.
yeah.
I don't
Could
know.
be.
Who eats quarterbacks for breakfast, it looks like here.
Yeah.
Like it.
I eat pieces of like you for breakfast. You eat pieces of for breakfast?
No.
No. By the way, when does that hit the theaters? When's that coming out? Or
The
is it even
second
going?
one, I think they already recorded it and edited it. I think it's just a matter of time here. It's
It
got to be
probably-
a summer blockbuster for sure.
Oh, bro, I will go watch. I don't care if it sucks. I will watch it and I will smile.
Mhm.
You know. And they redone the theater here in town in Johnson City. You can go in there and get you an ice cold bruschetta, sit down with some popcorn, watch it. I mean, fresh out the tap. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. I'm usually snoring about halfway through the movie, and Mandy's over there nudging me. That goes. I work hard for my money. You know what I'm saying? All right, so there you go. 33rd team with their top part of their board. You know, Jared Wilson's another prospect we talked a little bit about. Shout out to Andy. See you, Andy on Twitter. He tweeted this out and said, Georgia center Jared Wilson constantly sticks out to me in this class. Weaker center class. He's a top 50 guy, though. Big fan. When he said top 50 guy, that kind of caught me by surprise, but you see him doing some work here at the second level, driving that Mike Backer out of there. What do you guys think, man? Is that too high on Jared Wilson? Because we've talked about it. It seemed like going into the pre-draft process, right? He was right around 100 or just outside of the top one. I remember us saying there's nobody in the top 100 playing center, and then all of a sudden you've got Jared Wilson. Now he is currently, let's see where he's at on our board. I want to say he's a little bit lower because, again, we take the early information very, very serious. Where is Jared Wilson? I'm going to have to hunt him down, boys. What do y'all think about Jared Wilson here? Nice little rep they're showing as well.
I mean, he's the best center prospect probably, other than Gray Zabel, I guess they're saying is a center apparently all of a sudden.
Well,
But as far as guys that are listed, I mean, it's Wilson. Then I got Seth McLaughlin out of Ohio State and Jonah Monheim out of USC. That's pretty much it. I mean, Jake Majors out of Texas. I mean, you're getting into the 200s very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's not a deep center class at all. But I do think Wilson's probably the best prospect other than Zabel, like if we're talking Gray Zabel.
I mean, that was an interesting. I saw what you're talking about, Tim. Gray Zabel actually did, I believe, have decent reps at center in one of those years. I think he was more of like that Swiss Army knife. I'm totally about that. It's just if you had to if you're just going in the draft being like we need to solidify the center position, I would probably be okay with taking Jared Wilson in the second round. I'd rather wait for my guy Jonah from USC. I just kind of maybe let him fall into that third or fourth round pick and try to better utilize some of the earlier ones. But I think that my top three would be Wilson, Jonah, and then Zabel I'd probably put in the top. I just don't know where they're going to use him. You know, if we could get a Swiss Army knife like him, if he really can play all five positions again, sweet. Let's plug him in. Let's do that.
Yeah. And we got Jared Wilson currently in the 97 spot. He did not have a grade listed in 2022 that we could rank. In 2023, he was the 64th highest graded center in college football. 24, he jumped all the way to 11th. The PFF Big Board had him at 103. Consensus Big Board had him at 143. Kyle Krabs did not have him in his top 100 or his top 125. I didn't see him in the top 125 today. I need to go double check, though. I know I missed a few players, so he could be there. And then Dane Brugler had him at 83, so he comes in, again, at the 97 spot for us.
What about Jonah Monheim, Jacob's guy? Where is he on our board?
I actually just added some more information on him today because of Kyle Krabs' top 125. Jonah Monheim, we have in the 126 spot.
Okay.
Right? We got to list him as a center/guard, so he is in the blue. PFF, he kind of regressed his whole college career, but man, in 22, a 14th highest graded at his position. 23, he was 45th. 24, he dropped to 66th. PFF Big Board had him at 139. The Consensus Big Board had him at 114, and Kyle Krabs had him at 122. So again, he comes in at the 126 spot for us, a little bit lower than where Kyle Krabs had him at. So,
nice.
What do you got on him? You got anything on him there, Tim, in terms of measurements, stuff like that? Jonah Monheim?
6'5", 310. He's a big dog.
Sounds like Josh Myers' build, don't it?
Yep. He's going to be 23 this year. Played the bulk of 800 plus snaps at center last year. Played a little right guard and left tackle in 23 and 2022 as well. So might have some versatility there.
All right, good deal. All right, moving along here. Let's go to our buddy See You Andy on Twitter. I always struggle to say it. He's got the top running backs here, and I did find out that he's getting this graphic from a website. I'm trying to think of who tweeted it out. He didn't list it there. Actually, if I do this, it might have it. Yeah, draftprofessor.com, who reached out to me earlier today and was thanking us for sharing his content. So we'll make sure that we show him some love. Go to draftprofessor.com and check them out. They were doing a live stream earlier. I was watching. Seemed very, very knowledgeable about what they're doing. So running backs, I just wanted to mention this real quick. Let's see how our running backs stack up against theirs on the board here. They have Ashton Jeanty 1. We do as well. They've got Travion Henderson 2. We've got Travion Henderson as the 5th best running back, fellas. They have Omarion Hampton 3rd. We have him 2nd. They have Caleb Johnson 4. We have him 4. And they have Quinshon Judkins 5. We have Quinshon Judkins 3. So it looks like 3 and 2, right? Their 5 and 2 is our 3 and 2, if that makes sense. So we're kind of in the same ballpark, but boy, they ain't nobody tearing Ashton Jeanty down. They're like, this dude is that guy. Whoever drafts him is going to get a hell of a back to stay healthy, man.
Can I ask where, Clay, you rank Cam Skibido?
Oh, what? Yeah, hold on a second. I get him right here. How did you say his name?
I don't know. It's Cam Scatabo, I believe.
Yeah, Scatabo is how I've always heard it. So we've got Scatabo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 7th best running back. And man,
I love that dude. He just reminds me of Mike Allstott. Remember that?
Yes, he plays the game the right way, man. There's no doubt about it. 2022, he was the 8th highest graded running back. Then he dropped all the way to 177 in 23. But last year he jumped all the way to 4th.
What about go ahead. Continue.
I was just going to say 48th on the PFF Big Board, 77 on the Consensus Big Board. Kyle Krabs had him at 100, Jacob. So go ahead, Tim. What'd you have, buddy?
Dylan. Where's Dylan Sampson?
Because he's spit top fire.
Because he's spit hot fire.
2022, we have him as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th best running back, right behind Scatabo. Okay. 2022, he was 263. 23 jumped to 96. 24, he jumped to 13. PFF Big Board had him at 53. Consensus Big Board had him at 112. 33rd team, Kyle Krabs had him at 91 early, and Dane Brugler had him at 80. So yeah, that's one that I would. And again, I don't think we're like heavy in the market for a running back, but if the stars line up, don't be surprised if the Packers draft one late. You know, That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Check that out. Coach Len said that he scouted or recruited Scatabo in high school. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Oh, I bet his high school tape looked phenomenal.
It's just brutal.
Absolute dog. All right, next here we go. Andy tweeted out from the same draftprofessor.com. Pre-combine top 5 guards. Will Campbell, they have listed as a guard here out of LSU. Number 1, Tyler Booker. 2, Donovan Jackson, who you guys just asked about, number 3. Gray Zabel 4, Wyatt Malum 5. What's your all's take on that? Anything you want to comment or add to that?
I really like Wyatt Malone, but I didn't know because I thought he had the predominant amount of snaps as a tackle at West Virginia, and maybe they're thinking about kicking him inside. But if I'm not mistaken, I thought he graded out real well, and I thought it'd be maybe a good late round steal. Not late round, but maybe second or third, fourth, or something like that.
Yeah.
What about? Go ahead, Clay.
I've got Will Campbell as a tackle. Tim, how do you see Will Campbell? You seen him as a tackle or a guard, man? I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but I was just curious because they've got him definitively listed at a guard here, and we've got Tyler Booker as our top guard. So if Will Campbell wasn't on this list, that would line up. We'd have Donovan Jackson 2, which would line up with their 3, and then we got Gray Zabel listed as a tackle actually because he can play everywhere on the line, and then they've got Wyatt Malum, who I think we've got listed as a tackle as well. So they may be going a little more in depth than we are in terms of who they actually see as an interior offensive line.
Yeah,
Will Campbell.
I got Zabel and Malum as tackles on my list, and I think Campbell too.
Yeah,
no, not Campbell.
We've got Will Campbell as our top tackle, and then we've got
that is Will Campbell. Yeah,
we got Gray Zabel listed as our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th best tackle.
But he's a center, right?
He's got the V on ours because everybody at the Senior Bowl said this dude can play any position on the offensive line. They tried him at Senior Bowl. And for people that don't understand, how did he go from being a tackle to being able to play center? They tried him all over the offensive line at the Senior Bowl, and Jake could probably attest to this. He was actually there for the practices. They said that dude damn near dominated every position he played, and center really stood out. Like multiple people at the Senior Bowl were going, "This is the best center in the draft." So, Jake, if you would in the chat, would you say, do you see Gray Zabel as the best center in this draft, or do you see it more of I would probably play him somewhere else? I'm eager to see what your opinion is. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And Tim, that's why, to your point, that's why he's lower on our board than most people, was because early on, his PFF grades were phenomenal, but he played at North Dakota State, so you got to take that in consideration. He was 39th on the PFF big board. He was 74th on the consensus big board. Daniel Jeremiah had him 48. 33rd team had him 89th, and Dane Brugler had him 38 on his board. So
let me ask you about the North Carolina Willie Lampkin. Do we have him on our board?
Willie Lampkin.
Because I think his size might have hurt him a little bit. He's 5'11", 290, but his numbers
listed as
really
a tackle?
good. No, he's a guard. He's a guard.
Let's see here. Willie Lampkin. I know I've seen the name. Where are you at?
Played a little bit of center as well. So we
Did you say 5'11", 290?
Yeah.
Dude, that is a bowling ball, man.
That's what I'm saying. But like everything else about him is just like
he built like me.
Yeah,
Willie
but he can block.
Exactly. Willie Lampkin, we have listed in the 2. Actually, no. He's pretty far down the offensive line. Let me see what his grade is. I'll tell you where he's at on our board. His grade's 207, if that tells you anything.
Okay.
So he's
so
probably
on him then. So we've got like Luke Kandra and
Willie Lampkin
probably higher than him.
Tim, Willie Lampkin does have the little fruitcake 2 guys wrestling around in tights, so he is a former wrestler, right? It's important. So Jake says Lampkin actually measured at 5'10" and 3/8, 270 pounds. Wow.
Still.
There you go. All right, let's move it along here as we're getting late on time here. My wife going to be mad at me if I don't stick to my promise here and try to get done a little earlier. All right, wide receivers, according to draftprofessor.com. There you go. Jake Shavink says Zabel probably fits best as a guard or center. There you go. So
he would fit in great in Green Bay.
All right. I'm about to kick him inside. I've got him as a tackle. I'm about to officially make him interior offensive line /V, so we know, okay, he can play guard or center. That's probably what we end up doing. Wide receivers, they've got Tetero McMillan, number 1. All right. Got him number 1. Luther Burden 2. Emeka Egbuka is 3. Matthew Golden's 4. Trey Harris is 5. All right. And if we looked at the way our wide receivers ranked on our board here, We have Tatero McMillan number 1. We got Emeka Egbuka number 2, where they've got Luther Burden number 2. We got Luther Burden number 3, where they got Luther Burden number 2, and Emeka Egbuka number 3. We both got Matthew Golden 4, and then we both have Trey Harris at number 5. Tim, why the hell ain't Jaden Higgins on this list, man?
That's all good. That's because he's going to fall to us in the second round. That's why.
And he's going to outperform every one of these guys.
Yep. Or either that or Jack Besh. We'll get somebody. We'll get some value there.
Arguably the best hands in the draft, right?
Telling you.
What I understand. So
I don't disagree with this list though. I don't think it's very fall off. I'm not as high on Matthew Golden as some are.
Just going to say that's the one I don't quite understand the love for, but
who's that?
Matthew Golden.
Matthew Golden. Let's see why he's a little higher on our board.
I want to say that his drop rate was pretty big, and that's just not something
PFF grade was PFF grades 496 in 2022, 376 in 23, 160 last year. But so he was the 100. This is what we talked about yesterday. I ain't going to get mad again, Tim. I ain't going to do it. He was the 100. There was 159 other receivers that had a better PFF grade than him, but he was somehow number 22 on their draft board at the end of the season. Somebody do that math for me, please. I'll wait. And then Consensus Big Board had him 46. DJ's Big Board had him 24. 33rd team had him 29th, and Dane Brugler had him 27th. So, again, he comes in with a 39 grade. Matthew Golden, if we took him at 23, I wouldn't be like crazy shocked, but to me it seems like that's a little rich for me. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think I'm higher on him, or I'm higher on Restrepo than I am Matthew Golden, and I don't like the sub 6 foot receivers.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, to each his own. We'll see.
Yeah, we got Matthew Golden, Jacob. We got him in the 36 spots where we got him, man. So we're definitely lower on him than like Daniel Jeremiah's got him at 24. I mean, you're talking about 12 spots, right? So,
yeah, okay.
Jake Shavink says Golden might be wide receiver 2 in my opinion. So there you go. That's kind of I could see that. Kind of feels that way. Coach Lynn says, "What about Burden? Where do y'all see him?" We've got Burden a little higher. We've got him in the 28 spot. Here's how he got that grade. He's got a 28.8 grade, 491 in 2022. Then he jumped all the way to 14th in 2023. He fell back to 91st in 2024. PFF Big Board had him at 9th. They had him 9th at the end of the year. And then Consensus Big Board had him 14th at the end of the year. DJ's Big Board has him at 32. 33rd team, Kyle Krabs, has him 31. Dane Brugler has him 20. That's how we come up with the 28.8 before the combine. So we got him in the 28 spot. If it comes down to him and Emeka Egbuka and you got to take a wide receiver with 23, I want Egbuka, but Burden will be right behind him and right ahead of Matthew Golden.
Yeah. So, I just don't see us going wide out.
I don't either, man. I really
There's
don't.
a lot of value, man, later, especially at that position, right? I mean, Ty Felton, Ricky White, Nick Nash out of Nick Nash, San Jose State. Yeah, Jalen Royals, Pat Bryant, Torrey Horton.
Dude, Horton, I really like that. Is that Colorado State guy, right?
Yep.
I mean, I do think there are some second, third, fourth round gems.
Yep, absolutely. No need to break the bank and reach in the first round.
Yeah, it's kind of like what J. Cole is saying here. He said, I want Harris, Higgins, or Royals. We got Harris, number 49.
Yep.
We have got Higgins, number 59. Right, I mean, barely behind Restrepo. And then Royals, I want to say he was a little bit lower than those guys. Jalen Royals, we got in the 74 spot. Yeah.
What about Pat Bryant? That's another one that I like a lot.
Yep.
Pat Bryant.
What Illinois, I believe.
Illinois. Yeah.
I know we took him in several mocks. We've got him in the 124 spots where we got him. And Kyle Krabs had him 98th on his early board. So
is that a late fourth? That sounds about right, boys. I'll take that.
I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all. All right, moving on from wide receiver. This is the other thing we wanted to hit on real quick before we wrapped up. We were talking about Siobhan Ravel. You know, he's been kind of mentioned around the Packers a little bit if he were to be there at 23. I think you got to be careful. Tim brought it to my attention first about the injury. So Tom Pelissero tweeted this out. East Carolina cornerback Siobhan Ravel, or Shaven Ravel, however you say it, a first-round draft prospect who had ACL reconstruction on October 15th, is on schedule to be fully cleared this summer. His surgeon, Dr. Daniel Cooper, told NFL teams in a letter. Let me see. Let me actually click on that. Ravel is in Indianapolis this week for interviews and medical checks, so they'll be able to get their hands on that knee and kind of see is it at least on track for where that needs to be. So here was the letter. It said 2 NFL general managers, head athletic trainers, and player personnel directors. This letter is to outline the expected return to completion competition schedule for this young cornerback who is entering the NFL draft. He had ACL reconstruction surgery on his left knee 4 months ago, and he has been very compliant with his rehab. He is on schedule for full return to play this summer. When he reports to an NFL team after the 2025 draft, he will be cleared for all strength and conditioning activities and individual running and cutting drills as a defensive back. He will not be cleared for participation with the team until training camp. This is routine for the protocol after ACL reconstruction in football. Any of your trainers or team physicians can contact me further discussions as needed. Best regards, Daniel E. Cooper, MD, a.k.a. DEC/DKM, a.k.a. I should say AFAM's Blue Chew prescriber. Anything you guys want to add to that, Tim? That sounds like one of those mama letters, don't it? Like, hey, my baby okay? My baby okay? Y'all draft my baby. He okay? You think?
Yeah, I mean this is awesome that this is out there. I'm sure Siobhan Revel and his people are happy that this is out. I think it's good. I mean, the part that stood out to me is he will not be cleared for participation with any team until training camp. So good, he'll be okay for camp. I don't think there's any reason to be super hesitant. Maybe that hurts his draft stock a little bit. Depending on where teams have corner on their priority list. But I wouldn't run away from this kid. He's young enough. 4 months on, the doc says he's been very compliant with his rehab, which that's good. He's taken that seriously. So if he's on track, I don't see why you should be scared of him at all.
Do you I agree with that, Tim, but what about what Jay says? I think there could also be a little bit of an argument here. He says, I believe teams are going to be careful with Revel, especially with what happened in the running back Brooks last year. Brooks from Texas, who I believe it was the Panthers drafted him, and he barely saw the field.
Jonathan Brooks. Right.
Jonathan Brooks, partly because Sheba Hubbard actually played pretty darn good for a crappy team, but I do think that's...
We went through it ourselves with Marshawn Lloyd.
Exactly. I was just going to say exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I think this is as good of a progress report as you could expect for a guy that's, coming off of surgery, right?
Yeah, I agree. Siobhan Ravel Jr. is in the 17 spot for us. We've got the red marker for 2024 just as a quick indicator. Hey, he did have an injury, so we need to kind of be aware of that. But 33rd team has him 7th. Dane Brugler had him at 32. Daniel Jeremiah, evidently pre-Senior Bowl, had him outside of his top 50. So, obviously, he will not be getting a combine bonus because he can't perform. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. He may fall to the Packers at 23, and they feel good about it, right? Yep. That could happen for sure. So, all right, boys, I think we covered everything. As far as the poll question goes, though, that we asked when we started the show, should the NFL ban the tush push? 60.1% said yes. 39.9% said no. That's on Twitter. All right. On YouTube, it's 59% no, 41% yes.
That's so weird.
Yeah. There you go. So it's we still don't have answers, of course. We still don't have answers. And AFAM did say I get all prescriptions from a licensed medical professional. Just know, AFAM, if it lasts for more than 4 hours, call a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Something probably went wrong, man.
If it lasts more than 4 hours, I'm calling the Oval Office, baby.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
You got to clip that one, Tim. Aaron Rodgers says only 8 to 10 players will be invited to the draft this year. That's pretty wild, right? So I don't know what they typically invite. I know this. If I was one of those players that I knew I wasn't a slam dunk top 5, I ain't going to sit in that green room, which they protect them pretty good nowadays, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, boy, that was
rough.
brutal. So brutal watching him sit there and try to act happy. Who was the other one? Was it Lamar Jackson? Remember Lamar hung around for a while? Yeah. I think it makes it worse when your mama's there too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your mama going to drop you in and, it's okay, baby. It's like, Mom, get the hell away.
Stop.
I always remember Aaron looking at that flip phone. Remember he kept checking his flip phone?
Yeah. It's the good old days, man.
Yeah.
Good old days. Jake Shavink, Ja being happy for Lamar when he got drafted is still one of my favorite moments. It really was, man. Ja's definitely a hop guy. You know what I mean? Like, he hops his boys up. There's no doubt about it. And we still don't have answers, fellas. Tomorrow's the 25th, and if you're wondering, Clayton, why does the 25th matter? It's because when we reschedule contracts, the last contract we rescheduled, or last year when we did that, it happened on the 25th. So we're officially entering that window where we should see some contract restructures. If Ja's contract gets restructured, I go from 50-50 to 75-25. He's coming back. If it doesn't get restructured, probably starting to lean into maybe 60 he's leaving. You know what I mean? I don't know what you guys think about that, but we should have some news here soon. And again, prime for restructure, in my opinion. Rashawn Gary, Jair Alexander, Jordan Love, Elton Jenkins, Xavier McKinney, Kenny Clark, and Josh Jacobs, strictly because they have either roster bonuses or base salary that's a significant amount that you can convert to signing bonus and free up cap space. If you want to free up cap space, or if you want to cut some cap by giving more cash and rolling that into the next year, which Goody has proven time and time again he really enjoys doing. So, anything else, boys? Did I miss anything at all? We got about 4 minutes here. If you want to hang out for a second, tell me about your lives.
I think United Bates makes a good one. He says A-Rod with the LA Looks hair gel and flip phone was a classic. He had that. He was missing maybe like a puka shell necklace. That was the only thing he was missing.
Yeah, definitely. He had that. He had my senior year high school picture kind of vibes.
Oh, we're gonna give him some.
And Jake Shavink says 4 minutes is enough time for a mock draft. No, it is not.
Don't
No, it's not.
Pick mock draft, no trades.
Greg Rice says Love already restructured, right? No, that's not what we're talking about. He signed his new deal, but we're talking about you've got room that you can free up if you want to use his contract as a way to free up cap space. And matter of fact, since we got a second here, let me just go Jordan Love contract, actually spot track. And matter of fact, I'll throw it up on the screen since we ain't got nothing else loaded right now. Let's pop that over there.
They back the Brinks truck up yet for Zach Tom?
That's the other thing too. We got that marked in here. I think we'll hit it here in just a second. But Jordan Love's contract. The reason I mentioned him as a potential restructure, and again, I'm not saying it's a guaranteed, but if you'll notice, he's got $11.9 million in base salary here, right, in 2025. You could convert a little bit of that to signing bonus if you wanted to. All right, if you converted that to signing bonus, you could free up cap space. Probably unlike of all the players on that list that we just mentioned, of those 6 or 7 players, he's one of them at the bottom. But I could also see Goody doing a $2 or $3 million restructure, something like that, to be able to kick it onto those avoidable years. You notice at the bottom, you got those void years restructured already. So what you could do is, let's say you went to Jordan and said, "Hey man, let's convert $4 million of that 11.9 salary right here to signing bonus." And then you could take that $4 million and spread it out over 3 years at what would that be? $1.3 million per year. You wouldn't even see it, and you free up $4 million like that you can roll into the cap next year or use it to go out and get a free agent this year. That's the reason we mentioned that. And again, the big year though, where something's the rubber's really gonna meet the road, is when you get into the 2028 season. The base salary jumps to $43.9 million. All right. His cap hit's going to be 74.2. So if he is still playing great football and they go, okay, we want him for another 4 years, what you're going to see is a renegotiation of the contract. He's going to get an extension, and then they'll probably get rid of the void years, put more void years on the backside, and spread that over the 4 years and bring that cap number down from 74 probably to, if I were to guess, probably somewhere around 40 million at the time, which we know as the cap continues to raise, that's not going to be a big deal at all. So that makes sense.
I can't stop reading the chat. We got to get out of here. It's gone off the wires, man. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves.
It was Jake Shavink that mentioned that Zach Tom extension season is drawing close. Yes, it is. That's top priority, right? Priority number one, get Zach Tom a long-term deal. Prince in the chat says, draft day idea, Packers should invite Brett Favre to announce picks. Amen to that, my man. Amen to that. I will say this.
I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Chatting a little bit when he recorded the intro for us, I probably shouldn't even say this, but he's been vocal about it. And you guys heard him. What did he speak at? Was it this year, Tim? He spoke at something in Green Bay?
Yeah, it was at a Donald Trump campaign event here.
That's it. He struggled. You know, you
Yep.
can see, unfortunately, Parkinson's is catching up. So that's why if the intro seems a little low energy, I don't give a rat's ass. Somebody don't like it, they can unsubscribe because you could tell the dude did the best he could with it. I watched that Concussed documentary, and that was filmed. That's 2 or 3 years in the making, right? So he was in much better shape then. Now it's really starting to catch up. And, one of my heroes in my life was Mandy's father, my father-in-law, who passed away a few years ago. He passed away with Parkinson's and dementia from exposure to chemicals in the Vietnam War, where he worked on aircraft. So he was dealing with napalm and stuff quite a bit. Parkinson's is a evil, evil thing, man. It sucks. It sucks. So that's why when people are like, Brett Favre's a dirtbag, he's a this, shut up. I don't care. Like, you don't even
He was the best guy around.
So it's tough, man. It's tough to see somebody go through that. And I just think it's awesome that we got the intro we did. While he could do it, and I know it probably means, other than the friendships we've created doing this show, it means more to me than anything we've done so far, to be honest with you. So we'll have that forever, and I think that's awesome. So there you go, Prince. I hope he shows up, man. That would be awesome. That'd be absolutely awesome. So
Yeah,
all right.
along with all the Packers alumni, right? You never know who you might bump into at the draft, so it'll be great.
Yeah, definitely. All right, boys, that's it. We're out of here. Jacob, it's good to see you, man. Hopefully the pups continues to do well. If there's anything we can do to help you, let us know, man.
Yes, sir. Go Pack.
Tim, get on that cannoli hunt, Tim. All right.
Oh, I already got it narrowed down, man. We're going to start taste testing next week, so we're all good.
All right. Everybody have a great evening. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you would hit that like button on the way out, we will see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central for PTA Live. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world and go back.
And we go. We out.
Bye, guys.